3:36 p.m. We are now calling the Joint Budget and Finance Committee meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting to order. Council Abbott, have you had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
I did, and I move approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Do we have to do that technically? Do we still have to vote even though there's two of us?
According to Robert's rules, you don't have to.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, I know. Next is consideration of the consent agenda. Council Abbott, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I would like to place item 5 on consent on page 2, and item 8 and 9 on page 3, and items 10 and 11 on page 4. And I think, nope, item 13 on page 5 and item 15.
Okay. So that's item 5 on page 2, items 8 and 9 on page 3, items 10 and 11 on page 4, items 13 and 15 on page 5. Okay. Is there a motion for approval?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second. Okay. If your item was placed on consent agenda, you may go enjoy this beautiful sunny afternoon. Otherwise, the first item is item number 4. So, Ms. Lewis.
Hi.
Hey.
Item number 4 will be Attorney Lawson. And I apologize. I thought you were going to read the item.
It's okay.
That's not?
It's Adrian.
Oh, Adrian. Come on, Adrian. Come on down.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is a grant that we're trying to pursue with our PEP department. It's a grant from the Alabama Historical Commission called the Certified Local Government Grant. And with this grant, we propose to hire a consultant to prepare the Druid Hills Historic District, well, to place them on the National Register.
Okay. Is there anyone here from Druid Hills or Alabama Historical Commission? No, it's okay.
No, this just is a grant application.
Okay. I didn't know if
We
you had
worked
somebody here.
with Druid Hills in the past. We had a grant maybe a couple of years ago, 2021, where we were awarded the same grant to hire the consultant to prepare the survey.
Okay.
So this is the next step.
Okay, perfect. Council Abbott, do you have any questions?
Well, yeah, I did, because I thought the $24,000 would be to do the survey of all the structures. So what is it for?
It is to prepare for the register. So we've done the architectural survey. That's the first step. Then you have to do the proposal to put the neighborhood actually on the register. That's the second step.
Okay, the National Register.
The National Historic
Okay, so,
Register.
and then where does the local historic district designation fit into this?
Let me get my partners from PEP, Ms. Hannah Garman.
Hello, I'm Hannah Garman. I serve as the Historic Preservation Manager for this city. So as Adrian was saying, this is that second portion. We've completed the historic survey, so this is to move it to the nomination phase. So it would be hiring a historic preservation consultant to do that. This can work hand in hand with local historic district designation. If Druid Hills is interested in that, that's something we would definitely go to them and talk to them about that process. So this kind of helps facilitate that. It gives you those kind of defined boundaries for the district. That would be usually the local district matches the National Register boundary districts, or yeah, the National Register boundaries.
So I'm baffled that we're doing all this work just to get National Register designation, because it means really nothing. It doesn't give you any protection. It doesn't give you any funding unless you're a commercial business. So why would we not proceed with the local historic district, which actually protects things?
So the neighborhood reached out and wanted to pursue National Register listing from our office. So we did that in correlation with the survey. So that took place in 2021 and it was finished in 2022. It determined that over 300 structures are eligible for listing in the National Register. Like you said, the National Register is strictly honorary, but it does offer those incentives for rental residential or commercial properties. And so it is tied, those incentives are tied to being listed in the National Register of Historic Places.
Yeah, I would just think that if we were gonna spend all this money, because it's still real money, even though it's grants, that we would go ahead with the local historic district.
I'll let Carla speak to that.
Good afternoon, Carla Calvert, Urban Design Administrator. So the National Register nomination is required. In order to become a local historic district, there has to be a survey of all of the properties in the district. So the survey has been done. The National Register is the next step. The neighborhood Druid Hills did request our assistance in getting listed in the National Register. So that's why we're having to apply for the grant at this point. They have not requested to become a local historic district. So this process really lays the foundation for becoming a local historic district. As required by the City of Birmingham's Historic Preservation Ordinance, there has to be a survey. So we do have the survey in place. And like I said, the neighborhood does want to get listed in the National Register. So that's why we're having to apply for this grant at this time. And in the future, if they do want to become a local historic district, staff would have to make a presentation at the neighborhood association level and present information to them on what that would involve, and they can determine if they would want to pursue that at that time.
Okay, well.
We'll clarify too, we're only requesting 15,000. That's what we're gonna apply for. We can request from the Alabama Historical Commission up to $24,000, but for this project, we will be requesting $15,000, and our match will all be in kind staff or volunteer labor, so no cash match from the city is required.
Okay, well, I just think that having as many local historic districts and protecting as much historic property as we possibly can in Birmingham before the bulldozers come, you know, is important. And being on the National Register doesn't give you anything except the ability to put up a very nice and expensive sign that says that you're in the National Register. And I guess you can speak of it with pride, but if someone buys a historic home or a historic building and wants to bulldoze it, this gives us no protection at all. So
That's correct.
I have a concern about the city not pursuing local historic districts instead of just waiting for someone to ask for one. But that's a personal problem that I guess we can deal with from the legislative side of the House, since that's our job. Thank you.
Is there any other questions we can answer for you?
No.
Thank you.
Council Abbott, how would you like to?
Oh, I move approval.
Okay, second, okay. Next item is item number,
We need to vote.
we do need to vote for real. Okay. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the item passes. Next item is, that's interesting, item number 6. Okay,
And we have Lieutenant Malden here to speak to that item, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon. Lieutenant Malden with the Birmingham Police Department. I serve as the executive assistant to the Assistant Chief of Police. And what this is for our Axon ecosystem. Previously, the Birmingham Police Department, we had several contracts under our Axon agreement. However, this allows us to bring all those contracts up under one agreement.
okay. Council Abbott, do you have any questions?
Well, I did want to ask if does this save us any money, or it just makes it more convenient to administer, or what's the purpose?
Yes, ma'am. It's a little bit of both. With this agreement, it allows us to have more functionality With this, it includes 10 interview and interrogation rooms, body-worn cameras as we've had in the past. Our tasers were upgraded with the software, community requests, which allows our community members to send us information. So there's a lot of different capabilities that's allowed and will help us further our technology.
Okay, good, thank you.
What kind of training is done for this for the officers?
Yes, ma'am. So Axon provides a robust training where they'll come and they'll train the trainer for our staff. So we'll have consistent training, and they've been great partners thus far.
Oh, great, that's good to know. Okay. Council Abbott, do you have any more questions?
I don't, I move approval.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 7. And this is agreement with the city of Birmingham and LRY. And they will refurbish and transform the former Birmingham City Union Building. And the city has agreed to make the property available to LRY at the use value of $30,000.
Good evening. My name is Cornell Wesley, serve as the Director for the Office of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. LRY Media has made significant contributions to the growth of Birmingham's hospitality and entertainment sectors. It is commendable that a local, minority-owned corporation has achieved such success, forming partnerships with esteemed organizations such as Major League Baseball, the Alabama Power Company, World Games, Regions Bank, and many others. The site in question is situated in an area designated as urban renewal, enabling the governing body to determine the usage price as a means of promoting economic development. Furthermore, it is important to highlight that the planned investments on behalf of LRY exceed $800,000. And so there will be no tearing down of this historical structure. There will be renovation of this building, which will ensure the retention and expansion of a, might I add, once again, a homegrown corporation within our community. Now, from a philosophical standpoint, this transaction, I would invite you to view it not just as a real estate transaction, but also as an incentive agreement. As a city, our objective is not only to attract corporations that we wish to establish themselves in our community, for which we provide robust incentives for, but also to support local businesses that are expanding their corporate footprint and that can continue to play a significant role in shaping our future here in Birmingham. I have joined with me the CEO of LRY, who can speak to their existing staff plans. They have an existing staff of 10. They have an aggressive renovation plan, which would entail additional space, including incubator space, as well as continued staffing up. And so from our position as IEO, we do feel that this is an appropriate use for the appropriate price. Happy to entertain any questions at this time.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Rashida Leroy, CEO of LRY Media Group. So we are here because we want to purchase the property located at 708 17th Street North in downtown Birmingham. This would be a headquarter office for us. We're currently located in Innovation Depot. When we think about this space allows us to do a number of things. First of all, we are a thriving business that is scaling and growing. So it gives us an opportunity to not only expand when it comes to our employment, but also with the services that we offer. When we think about who we are as a business, we're a minority business, a Black woman-owned business, and so we understand the need to have a diverse sector and, types of businesses in the downtown area. And it just gives us a true opportunity to really bring more business into this city, to be a part of more business that's happening in this city.
Okay. Did you have something for us to look at?
No, I didn't have anything today.
Oh, I just saw something in your hand. I sent
my
something
notes.
over to us a few weeks ago, if you remember. It was a while ago.
I don't, but I'll search for it.
I'll resend it. Well, Council Abbott, do you have any questions?
Well, I do have a few.
Okay.
And so this building which used to house two of our credit unions, is going to have your business with 10 employees, and then you're going to have other space to lease to other businesses, or tell me again.
Absolutely. So our goal is by the end of this year, we have our 10, we're looking to hire another 4, so we're actually in that process now. We'll also look to offer office space to other small businesses at a lower rate than what you would normally see in the downtown area. We're looking to build a studio. There's a lot of content that gets produced here, even with our company, but that studio can also be used for content creators, as well as having some space in there that we can use for small events as it relates to networking, community organizations, and even when we need to host some of our smaller events.
Okay, good, thank you. And then I have some questions for Mr. Wesley. So, how much is this building appraised for?
The appraised value is $350,000.
$350,000, and we are contemplating selling it for
$30,000.
Yeah. That seems really low to me. What if somebody came and said they wanted to pay us 40? Or 50?
Well,
Or wanted to buy it for the appraised value?
Well, the response would be, do they have all of the qualities that have been illuminated that LRY Media has bringing to the table? Are they homegrown corporation looking to grow? Are they staffing up? Are they willing to make significant investments in it? So from our position, it's always incumbent upon us to not only, again, attract corporations, but to create an environment where our own homegrown corporations can thrive as well. So as I've mentioned, I invite you to not just view it purely as a real estate transaction, but view it as an incentive agreement, no different than how we've engaged, say, insert name here. I don't want to disparage anyone's name, but insert corporation here, and how we typically would have a very front-loaded deal in some instances. In this case, proportionally, this is humongous savings if you view it that way.
Okay, so, has anybody else ever expressed interest in this building, or is it just sitting there lying fallow and?
No, there was other interest in it by a great partner of the city, Alabama Power. Again, our position for what would have been the proposed use, this more aligns with the sort of impact we would like to have in our downtown area.
Okay, and last question, the city center master plan. How does this how does this fit in with the city center master plan?
So that city center master plan predates many of us in this room. I understand that is almost a 20-year document. And so what we will do is make the commitment to digest the content in it to see if there's any encumbrances or any preclusions. We feel pretty confident at this stage that it is our recommendation to continue to move forward.
Okay, well, it shocks me that you don't know anything about the city center master plan, and then it perturbs me that maybe planning, engineering, and permits hasn't shared that information with you, because this is an ongoing plan of the city. It's not like, well, it's old, so we're not going to do it anymore. So I'm surprised. I'm just surprised. And I'll check into it, because it seems like a very peculiar way to do business in the city when we're doing things that I don't think comport with the plan, but you'll have to look at it. I'm sure they've got a copy. Actually, I think it's part of the city code, because the city council passed it. Mm-hmm. So that bothers me. But I'm not going to hold this up because it bothers me. I'll just ask more questions of other people.
Thank you.
Well, you can go ahead and answer your questions.
No, I'm going to ask them privately.
Okay, gotcha.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, can we have Cornell come back and talk about the renovations and about the second floor as relates to what it would take to get the building up to par?
Absolutely. So we estimate anywhere from $800 to $1 million to get the building back up to code. From our initial survey, the building is going to need all new mechanical systems. We're going to have to install an elevator in the building. The plumbing will need to be replaced in the building, the windows, the entrances, the exit. So the building itself will undergo a completely, renovation and rehaul.
So, if all that is supposed to be done, how's it appraised at $350,000?
Counselor Alan Foster from the Office of the City Attorney. The appraisal is not based on what is projected to happen, it is based on the actual building as it stands now.
That's what I'm saying. That's a lot of work that needs to be done. Is it
No,
based
she
on?
hasn't, oh,
No, I was talking about the appraisal value. No, 350,000 looks
I
like,
misunderstood the question, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just asking it seems like the building is severely dilapidated. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how they got to 350,000. Do we know? No, y'all don't know? Okay.
Independent appraisal, outside.
Well, Ms. Janice Dothert, she can come and give some more information regarding the appraisal.
Janice Dothert, I serve as real estate manager in the Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. When they do the appraisals of the property, the building itself is in decent shape. This top floor is the one that's in bad condition. The credit union only used the first floor.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also the building is downtown, which make our properties in this area a little bit more expensive. But that is, when they compare it with other properties similar in the area, that's how they came up. The appraisal did, Class Appraisal did the appraisal for us. And he's been doing appraisals for a long time with the city.
Oh, yeah, I'm not down on him. I was just trying to see how they got to that number, so, yes.
I did think of another question. Where are the credit unions now?
They relocated on the north side, I believe. I'm not sure what building they
But they're
they moved
gone.
to, but they're still Birmingham City Credit Union. They
And
just
then-
got a little larger space, more parking, and it is a one level that they are in now.
Okay, and the Division of Youth Services, I thought they were in this building.
Oh, no.
Are they
just
in a
as the credit
different
union.
building?
The Division of Youth Services is still in their building that they've been in on 7th. Their building faced 7th Avenue, so.
Oh, okay, so it's empty. It's just
This
sitting
building is
vacant.
empty. When the credit union moved, they were the only ones in there, and when the credit union moved out, that's when it became empty.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to know where the credit union went, both of them.
But they're still in the city and serving the employees.
Okay, great, thank you.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, I move approval.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
One abstention for me. Okay.
So that didn't pass?
So, it still passes. Cheryl said it still passes.
Still passes. Well, 1 out of 3. We have a 3-member. Well, that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But that was approved. Next item is item number 12. And this is, the city will purchase from the Birmingham Board of Education, commercial building located at 2620 35th Avenue North for a price of $650,000.
Madam Chair, we have Corey Stallworth from Community Development.
Okay, come on up, Mr. Stallworth.
Good afternoon, Corey Stallworth. I serve as Senior Deputy Director for Community Development. And so this item before you is for the purchase of North Birmingham School in the amount of $650,000. So I believe we have a typo here on the amount. but that is $650,000. If you recall, our office received an appropriation from Congresswoman Sewell about a year ago in the amount of $3 million to invest in, do rehabilitation projects in North Birmingham. And so we will be using a portion of that $3 million that we receive to purchase the school, as well as to rehabilitate the school as well. And so we see this project as a catalyzing project in the North Birmingham community. We are seeking to redevelop it into affordable housing, as well as other retail and commercial amenities for the neighborhood.
Right, perfect. Council Abbott, do you have any questions?
Okay, so you're saying certain real property consisting of a commercial building at 2620 35th Avenue North is actually a school?
Yes, this is North Birmingham Elementary School. I think that should be the address.
Why couldn't we just say that? I mean, a school isn't a commercial
Yeah.
building. I find this very odd. But,
We can correct that to say a school.
yeah, I think by the time it reaches the city council agenda, we could say what it really is, and that would leave less room for confusion.
Yes, we
So
can make
North
that correction.
Birmingham Elementary School would be renovated as is into dwellings?
Well, we will be working with our engineering firm. Right now, it's hard to really say that, if that building will be feasible for affordable housing units. And so we're doing our exploration now, to see what is the most cost-effective approach. And so if it is too costly to, transition it into affordable housing, then we will look at social services and commercial amenities for that building, and then look to build affordable housing on the playground and green fields on the back of the school.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what else is included besides the school?
Yeah, so there is a couple of acres that are on the back. So you have a basketball court, you have a little bit of parking on the back, and I think a track as well that is contained in the property.
Okay, so right now they've got basketball courts, parking, and a track.
Yes.
Okay, and how many acres is it total for the property?
I think it's maybe about four acres.
Maybe we could have that by the time we get to the council
Sure.
meeting. And maybe even a plat that shows like where it is.
Sure, we can provide that.
Okay, I believe those are all my questions.
Okay, and then, I see there's a grant, so this is part of the funding that, Congresswoman Sewell gave us, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and then what are we gonna do with the, remaining $2,250,000?
Yeah, so that remaining funding, we will use to actually clean up the school. So there is some hazardous materials, asbestos, lead, things of that nature. The school also just needs to be trashed out in general due to it being vacant for a while. Ceiling tiles have fell down, things of that nature. So that will be spent on that. And if we have any left over, then we will direct that to actually to the hard costs associated with the construction.
And how much funding did she provide?
So $3 million is from Congresswoman Sewell's office, and as we put the project together, we will identify what community development funds we can add to that, as well as working with a developer that will bring private capital to support the project.
Do we have a developer or are we out looking for one?
So we will be looking for one. First, we want to do our due diligence in-house with an engineering firm just to test the soil, as well as determine if the building, can be used for affordable housing. And once we get those details, we will put those details in an RFP where we'll be seeking a developer to either rehab the school into affordable housing or the commercial and social services. But we need to determine that first before we put out the RFP.
Shouldn't we do that ahead of time before we actually pay for it?
determine whether we want to do
determine what kind
affordable
of
housing.
whether there's anything in the soil or anything bad that we really wouldn't want to purchase. I mean,
Yeah, so we have the due diligence period of 30 days to do those things.
will
Or
we actually do it in 30 days, or will
Yes.
we just have the
Yes.
30-day period and then buy it anyway?
Yes, actually, we were doing those things already as we're going through this process.
Yeah, because I could see where it could turn into a money
Yeah.
pit if there's something on the property that we
Yeah.
don't really want.
Yeah, we do those things in advance before we finalize any purchase of property. We always test for asbestos, hazardous material, as well as test the soil.
Yeah, that is North Birmingham, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. I think those are all my questions. So the entire 3 million is really aimed at this project?
Yes, it will go directly to the renovation and cleanup of this school.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I move approval.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye, the item passes, thank you.
Thank you.
And then next item is item number 14. This is, a tax revenue enhancement agreement, revenue administration with HDL companies. They will provide support services to tax and license division of finance for the city for 2 years. An amount not to exceed 1 million, subject to availability of funding for the second year, for fees in an amount not to exceed 500,000 for annual software usage and processing for each year.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Excuse me, Yolanda Lawson, Department of Finance, Tax and License Division. Do you want to ask questions or?
Can you give us a brief, is this something new?
Yes,
or-
ma'am. This would be revenue software that we would be able to use in the Tax and License Division to hopefully streamline and provide additional resources, additional options when taxpayers are coming into the city or renewing their license or paying their monthly license or periodic licenses. So this software would be for the use of the Tax and License Division.
Council Abbott?
Does this have anything to do with Avenue?
The software would actually be a software that would be used as a replacement for Avenue eventually. So,
We'll call it an enhancement.
an enhancement.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to know if this was going to help us to get back on our feet and
Yes, ma'am, that is the goal. Myself and my team in the Tax and License Division, we're working to get us back to the point of being able to bring all of our services back in-house and allow taxpayers to expedite their processes and receive services electronically as well as in person, in real time.
there's some things that should never be outsourced. I'll bet the city has learned at least which one of them should never be outsourced.
But we're here to make a difference.
Yes, well, I'm very happy that we're getting this, and getting our act together here, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I move approval if you don't have
Yeah,
any
I'm good.
questions.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The item passes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We don't have any old and new business. The next committee meeting will meet on Monday, June 24th at 3:30 p.m. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I move that we adjourn.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, guys.